Hello, yada yada yada, introduction, Yonka's not here, got lost at the OK Mr. Productions party. Welcome back.
This video is really haunted. We tried to do it a year ago and we lost it. We tried to do it a minute ago and God stopped that. So
let's just
there are powers that be that want this to not be made, but here we are, you fucking gluttons, you Zelda versus Terminator junkies, you Jack Russellian fanatics. Here we are.
Alright, strap in, Prettians, for chapter 24 for what must be the third time we're attempting this. Something about sex with Gerudos, that's all you missed. I mean, I could read it to you, but I'll recap the first paragraph because that's pretty much all I got to. All I need to know is Jack Link can sleep with hot Gerudo women, and Anouk didn't want this and said, I'm out, and just went to the local ferry inn. Okay, you're all caught up.
The local ferry inn, that's where I go to drink.
I'm glad there's some kind of continuity here with that, but without further ado, for realsies. First person that he sexed was a woman, her name Sharpshooting Saraha, and she could shoot his gun anytime. They did it in the showers, and in Hot Tub of Love, and in her bed, and in archery course, which is spelled wrong, where she was shooting arrows as he was shooting into her targets, and she made him score many bull ices. She was shooting top scores with her crossbow as Jack Link squished her 2 milky cannonballs and putting his long arrow into her quiver. And it was making her feel so good that she cried out many times like she had broken the archery world record. And they kept grinding and sexting until that arrow had spilled its coating all over the lining of her quiver. Meanwhile, now that you've assimilated that information, Anouk was talking to the fairy barkeep while downing some fairy ale, because you can always trust you bartender to keep a secret.
So, what's so annoying about this Jack Link?
Asked the barkeep.
Where do I start? He's irresponsible, a womanizer, and he tries to be so cool. Too cool to have a fairy, and made that clear from the start.
So the barman asked,
Tell me more. Why does he think he's too cool?
Back with Jack Link! Then it was Shield Madden Matildia, and if anyone could pronounce any of this, give me pointers in the comments below. And in her tent, Jack Link penetrated her shield with his sword, and put his hands around her big round chest plate. You did not need to put quotes around chest plate. I know what a chest plate is. And felt those amazing spikes that was on tip of him, making her moan like a metator. Well, you've got me on that one. Then Jack Link plunged his long sword so deep into her that she cried a little and make sweet music. It was the hot. They did long and slow, but hot, in case you were afraid they were cold, until Jack Link, her weak spot, what he did, I don't know, with his sword beams, and she cried like a boss that you defeat, but not in a violent way. Oh, okay, God forbid. I'm waiting to see if my co-host is still alive.
Oh, I'm still alive. I'm just really soaking this one in.
Oh, thank God, yeah, I just want to make sure our recording didn't explode again. Speaking of explosions, meanwhile...
So then he swatted me because he's too cool to have a fairy. Too cool? Poppycock! Link saved the world with a fairy, and that didn't stop him from being cool. And what does being cool even matter? He's not some rock star or skater. He's a new hero of time. That should be cool enough, said Anouk.
I'm glad that the author doesn't want me to know who said this. I'm going to assume the barkeep.
Wasn't Jack Link killing monsters with all kinds of weapons and use all manner of crazy gadgets?
Weapons. How about weapons?
Weapons is the one consistent thing in the entire franchise. It is always spelled that way.
How could you make him uncool?
Oh. I guess all this is Anouk. I don't even know anymore. I'm going to go under the assumption this is Anouk.
Before Link died, Jack Link was his irresponsible brother who spent his time sleeping with women and staring in films and doing stunts. He always think Link was a boring sissy and goody-goody who hang out with fairies and princesses, Anouk said.
He must not like being the chosen role at all, then,
said the barkeep, pouring Anouk another fairy vodka. You know, not to be confused with your average distilled human vodka. Back with Jack Link. Then Jack Link got to spend the her went to her blacksmith officer, where she bent over her anvil, and Jack Link used his hammer on her anvil between her legs, you know, where you put anvils, to do some real forging, and he really lit the fire in her oven with his tongs and put the fire so deep in that oven that she felt like she is on fire, but a fire that feels so good that it can't be put into words. And trust me, the author tried to put those into words. They forged long until her oven has had its fill of ironwork. I sometimes think Mr. Roussel is just playing a game of, like, ad-libbing. Like, he's just playing Mad Libs, and that's why there's so many quotations.
Has it occurred to you that this fan fiction is a bit rubbish?
Okay, is Aninyar gone? Okay, good. Meanwhile...
He was just getting orange juice, which is weird because he's vampire.
Yeah, you know, sometimes he just walks around the office while we're doing this.
Oh, I just drink the orange juice so that you can't have it, that's all.
He does
That's a fun thing about vampires. I have to regurgitate this later because it's not blood.
Uh-huh.
He does everything the most over-the-top and expansive way as possible, and he keeps wasting time sleeping with women than getting the quest done.
You mean while in the temples or dungeons?
Asked the barkeep.
No, not in those. He keeps going to parties for looking for them. Like before we were going to the Death Mountain, he had to peek up some gadgets from the king. But because it was New Year's party, he spent the whole night partying and then sleeping with dancers rather than going to Death Mountain. And then, of course, they turn out to be agents of Ganon. He almost get pwned.
I'll pause for a second there. Continuing.
Because he was thinking his sex drive rather than his brain,
Anouk said.
Well, at least he's focused while fighting in the temples,
said the barkeep.
Well, he's always killing the NMMs in the most over-the-top way rather than just killing them normally, because that would be cooler. Then there was that time in the water temple where he was almost seduced.
I don't think there could be anything seductive about that horrible place,
said the barkeep. Clearly he didn't read the earlier chapters, but I digress. Back with Jack Link. Next was the Mistresses of the Horses. As if that's just something we should know about, okay. First rode his horse in the field and show all the tricks she could do, make it do as she rode it, cowgirl, cycle. You ever just think this is trying to induce a stroke? Maybe.
Yeah, I try not to think with this stuff.
Well, evidently Mr. Roussel was thinking very hard about this work, and that's why we were all here. She rode his horse like an expert sow rider, galloping up and down, all the while getting more pleasure that she got from riding a real horse. That's fucking gross. Don't bring bestiality to this, please. Also, Jack Link got to feel those amazing big round water bottles. That is the most disgusting descriptor for breasts I've ever heard. Who the fuck brings it up like, yeah, pulling spring bottles? Anyway, sorry, I'm getting angry. They did this until she achieved the ultimate high jump, and Jack Link jumped his horse to the deepest point of her ring. Then, it was time to swamp. Ew. And Jack Link rode her like, I assume he meant swapped. But no one correct me. And fed her his carrot, thought her other mouth, and rode her around the field like a thing paused. He really tamed her in that field, feeding the beast between her legs and taming the hills on her chest. I am now concerned, 24 chapters in, what kind of fetishes Roussel has. Meanwhile, Anouk was still going off on the bartender. Poor dude just wants to do his job.
Well, in the water temple there was a sea elf and a mermaid that tried to suss and kill him. They would have as well if Rudo hadn't shouted him to bring him to some sense. Then, after we were finally done with that temple, he spends more time in Zora's domain partying and sleeping with Zora women. I had enough and tried to stop him, but I could not even when I encouraged Lord Jabba Jabba and Saria do all kinds of embarrassing things.
Okay, gotta laugh out of me. I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give Mr. Roussel credit. He definitely remembers every chapter he writes. He
I
always
legit
forgets.
forgot. I legit forgot. Like these things make me laugh, and that's why we do.
I mean, I did this because the Darunia chapter broke me. I think that's when I said we have to continue.
So even though the world is suffering under the evil of Ganon and the evil Terminator, he still finds time to have a massive orgies and parties with women.
And, you know, if I may break real quick, isn't this like the third time Anook's broken the fourth wall and, like, complained about the conventions of the series? So, like...
Yeah, it happens, yeah.
So the series is self-aware enough to bring attention to it, but not actually fix it. That's nice.
He will go after any fully grown women, even Zora women. I mean, they are part fish, and he doesn't even care if he's going to come out smelling like sushi or haddock as long as he gets to bed them. Pour me another drink.
So, what's Jack Link doing now?
Asked the barkeep. I guess we'll find out right now. Back with Jack Link. Dan, he sexed many more Gerudo women all night long. He filled more holes than a plaster. He went down more pipes than a plumer. Filled more pools with liquid than someone who makes swimming pools. Well, someone didn't do their research on that one. Fried more eggs than a dive-in cafe. Filled more cakes with creamy filling than a baker. Put white in folds than a biscuit factory. Filled more, okay, I read that right, caves than the ocean. Sure, felt more melons than a greengrocer. Oh, it's greengrocer, if you know what that profession is. Handled more jugs than a waiter. Hit more cockers than a door maker. Filled more bazookas than a cyber demon. Yeah, handled more orbs than a wizard, squooshed more apples and pears than a cider makers, more cans than a brewery, more hooters than a shooter, more braps than a bakery, more globes, hold on, I'm on a roll here, than Calypso in Twisted Metal 2. That was oddly fucking specific.
God!
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot the
with,
fucking lunatic references.
wait, no, then he concludes with, you get the point. Thanks for wasting our time.
Someone actually wrote, "You get the point." Text.
He had a lot of great Amazing sex with some really hot Amazon women, all too much sex for one man to take. Oh, now suddenly he has limits. Okay. And these Garud are some weird stuff, I tell ya. Yeah, the author's letting you know. Meanwhile, Anook, thanks.
Now he's attempting to sex with all the Gerudo women out there, and he's going to be for ages trying to feed his massive libido.
Who gave this man a thesaurus? I digress.
He could wait to get here because it's a realm of all women, and that is like a dream come true for him, being a man in a kingdom of a triad of women. But does he think of consequences of that dream? Not only will he spend a lot of time sleeping with them, all in which who know what Ganon could be doing. Also, how many do you think he might knock up? Hyrule and the Gerudo have been at war before, and he might have created a whole army of new Gerudo, who then come invading Hyrule when this is all over.
Are you really trying to, like, put a plot? You know what? Whatever.
They hate men as well, so why does he not consider that they're just using him?
Anook ranted. Then Barkeep kept pouring more drinks and kept hearing more of Anook's rantings. Navi was also at the bar. Fucking excuse me? Wasn't Navi killed? Wasn't that established in chapter 1? He literally said you can't have Navi because she died. Okay.
Yeah, Navi's dead. She died with me, bro.
Well, evidently, there better be an explanation for this. Mr. Roussel, I'm expecting...
Sometimes there are. Sometimes he does come around. Let's see.
Yeah, there's subversions. Let's keep going. Washed up because Link is dead and trying to find a career in the movies as a fairy actress. Everybody's got their coping mechanisms. Ours is reading the story. So. There was also a crassy guy there that said he is going to take over the world with, with house music and the fairy version of the AVGN. Well, this just got derailed really quickly. Back with Jack Link. I really hope there's a payoff for that. At the end of it all, he had sex with the Gerudo Queen, who had fought with the ending of the last chapter. so he remembers that chapter of 7,000 words. Well, that's very kind of him. For 3 whole days. And she was the most amazing woman he had sex with since, but also most lethal in bed. So, fuck Santina. I guess she's bad in bed. She had muckle body, but also bigger tits than Christiana Hendricks. But with the body hotter than Kelly Brook, I can't believe he brought that back. And she is Gemma Jamerson. After all this time, I still remember that weird, comparison to Kelly Brook, and I'm glad it's here. She is also really into whips and chains, and those days she tied Jack Link up and made him her bitch. But it felt so good. And also, her main male sex slave watched all this because that is his thing. Also, he's a character. I'm not judging. I'll judge a lot of things in this work, but not that. They did all the pages of the Quran Sutra, which, again, I don't know why this is the second time that's being brought up, and made Casanova and the... you got me on that. Maki de Sade? Sure. Look like amateurs by comparison. He was also the best lover she ever had. And it was so sexy, hot, great. That's a line. Someone wrote that. It had been a hard day's sex adventure, which is something I didn't think I'd read this morning. But now, Jack Link had get to the final temple, which is the Sprit Temple, which, if we're being completely candid, he probably should have already been on his way to, but whatever, he had to make a detour. He prepared to leave and got all his gear. The Gerudo showed him the way to the temple on a map and gave him some extra. So really, this just confirms what I just said. This was completely not necessary, but okay.
I could have told you that from the beginning. That's why I wanted to feed this entire chapter to Speedwagon.
Yeah, that's fair. We really could have and not missed anything of note. Well, we wanted to know that Navi's alive, I guess, but that might not even have a payoff. They also gave him the Lens of Truth, which would be real helpful here when he's going against the Haunted Wasteland. Why make him actually work for it? Just let, one of his sex partners give it to him, sure. Then Anouk comes out drunk, which might be the best part of the chapter for me. Ranting at Jack, for almost leaving her and for being irresponsible. But luckily, Jack Link learned how to tune out this kind of ranting. Fucking asshole! And also how to make up for annoyance like this.
You know what? I actually think I remember that phrase right there from 11 months ago when we last tried this.
Because, in the past, I guess this is a step up from when he would throw her in a bottle and, throw her down a well or leave her at the barkeep. Now he just tunes it out. Character development? So, it was headway to the Sprit Temple, which we're just sticking with that writing. Which might be even the next chapter, or will it? You go fuck yourself. Find out next time. I will, Mr. Russo.
All right. So I have some commentary, meta commentary.
Right.
I want you to appreciate. Basically, the last time we did a chapter, the last time we narrated a chapter was a year ago.
Yeah.
Right? This series of narrations started in 2015. 2015. It's 2024 now. The series began in 2011. He started writing this in 2011. We started doing these videos in 2015.
Yep, I checked that.
I just want you to appreciate it began so long ago. This series is still going on for our narrations. This series is still going on for something that started in 2011. But in the same continuity time span, I can bring up the whole Verbal Ace Charlie from Hazbin Hotel video that's trending right now on Twitter. So you want to talk about that? Just fucking make this a chronicle of dates throughout the series.
Oh, we're gonna date this and start talking about things that. Well, I mean, we did mention Vampire Skunk.
Let me ask. Yeah, we gotta get Vampire Skunks almost because Vampire Skunk wasn't a thing when this started. But let me ask you this. I just want to ask you this since it's the end of the video.
Yeah, why not?
If you had $50,000 thrown in your lap, $50,000 in your lap, and you were told you had to spend it, on an AMV of your self-insert getting basically chased and groped by some fictional character.
Right.
What character would it be?
Oh, come on. Wait, can it be a
you
character
better
that
pick. It's whatever character you want. Just pick a character from any media. I mean, anime, cartoon.
Oh, it'd be Cyan.
Like that.
It would be Cyan, for sure.
Not a dom. Pick a girl right now.
Girl? Ooh.
Or I will sign if you don't pick.
You know what? I'll let you spin the wheel on that one. I didn't have anyone in mind.
We don't want me to pick, so pick.
How about cats?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
You know, I'm actually visualizing it. Have you seen the video yet?
No, everyone's told me about it. I just haven't watched it. I don't want to watch it. Is that my homework after this chapter gets uploaded is to watch that?
No, you should honestly look it up for the fucking video.
Well, on
It's
that
so
note,
funny, man.
you know,
On that note, dear viewer, 20 years in the future, go look that up.
I'm sure it'll still be circulated everywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be there in the Jedi archives.
You might have to look up what Epic Rap Battles is. It might be before your time, but it was monumental when it came out.
It's cartoon beatboxing, but it's not epic rap.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I was thinking of a more ancient, outdated form of YouTube content. Whoops.
No one knows what epic rap battle is.
It's good. I just made the video more dated somehow. Woo!
Oh, you want to do even better? 98% of people fail this quiz. Has science gone too far? That's my face. It's like a Photoshop. It's a Photoshop picture of like a cat with a snail shell body.
Well, before we sign off, I will say it's kind of humbling that you started the series in 2015 for a fanfic that had been around for 4 years at that point. It's 2024 as we upload this, right?
You think this is the year? Yeah, you think this is the year we actually wrap it up?
I think this is
gonna hit or is this gonna hit like a 10-year anniversary?
That's what I'm thinking. Is that if we finish by 2025, it'll be 10 years since you've been starting that on this channel. And it's funny because the series was serialized for 10 years before it finished, so that's poetic.
Okay, it's 2024. It's January. The year just started. I think we can get this done by the end of the year.
We'll see how busy Skunk keeps our audience. But thank you
everyone. Be on the
watching.
lookout for Rupert Tittleton.
Coming soon. Very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for doing this.